right, Shalom. First and foremost, starting off, giving all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children out of the 12 tribes, whom Yahweh Bahashem and Shai will have mercy upon. This is your brother Matazabath, reported from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. Back again with another impromptu video. And this one, I don't have a title for it yet. But as you can see here from the peoplesvoice.tv, all right, 5 countries will be testing Europe's new VAC card. All right. Now, before I get into the lesson, all right, this is a quick disclaimer. All right. This is not me giving any medical advice, nor is this a video going into about health or particular medical fields or any of the above. All right. This is just simply me providing news. All right. And to help teach and edify the sheep out there. All right. Pertaining to biblical prophecy. Now, this is as of the 12th of August, 2024. The hopeful year Salakia of Jacob's trouble, as deemed by the beloved elder apostle Tahar. Now it says here that new EU VAT cards will be used to control access to banking and other services. So this is just one step closer, all right, to being surveilled under the skin, which ultimately is the RFID micro C-hip. All right, so let's quickly run through this. Okay, it says 5 European Union countries are set to pilot the newly developed European VAT card known as the EVC next month. And September's pilot program marks a step toward the continent-wide rollout of the card, according to the VAT Today. It says Belgium, Greece, Germany, all right, Latvia, and Portugal will be testing the new card in a variety of formats, including printed cards, mailed copies, and digital versions for smartphones. It says Dutch attorney Terhorst joined the Defender in depth to discuss the European VAT card, its similarities to the EU's digital DVOC certificate, the global push toward digital ID, and the implications for health and medical freedom. The Defender reports the card purports to foster informed decision-making on VACs and improve continuity of care across the EU, and aims to empower individuals by consolidating all of their VAC data in one easily accessible location. While the objectives of the program, set to be implemented through the EU by 2026, appear benign, critics argue the EVC is a stepping stone for mandatory, in the future. Some also argue the EVC is connected to large financial interest and plans to limit personnel and national sovereignty. The plan is to get everybody, For Terhorst, efforts to launch the EVC are at their root about digital ID. Quote, you get a digital ID where all your, V records are stored. All your personal details are stored in one place, and you can move it easily from one country to another without having to redo or reapply. So basically, it's about a digital ID and then a link from your personal ID to your medical records on the V, she said. Terhorst said that while the idea of having one's medical records easily accessible and transferable sounds benign, the plan is to get everybody V and to kind of overrule constitutional rights. All right, so you can see where this is headed. OK, let me read that quoted part again. It says the plan is to get everybody V'd and to kind of overrule constitutional rights. All right, so they're openly telling you right in front of your face what not only what the end game is, but how it's going to be, whether you like it or not. Goes on to say it was very clear that the object was that anybody within the EU could not say not to V. Terhor said. All right. So that's pretty much the topic at hand, is that now they're coming out and they're putting this into testing phases. Now, what I want to do, because the rest of the article just goes on about what else she stated within the interview, and I'm going to drop the link in the description box for you brothers to check out. Now, over a year ago, to show you, all right, how all of this went down. All right, this is fair use. All right, fair use. Check this out.
When we have another pandemic, we understand that to stop the spreading of the virus, we have to limit, not stop, the movement of the people. People that carry emergency medical countermeasure, emergency goods like energy and food, they still have to move around. The pilot, the ship's crew, those are the people that need to be moved around. So let's have a digital health certificate acknowledged by WHO. If you have been vaccinated or tested properly, then you can move around. So for the next pandemic, instead of stopping the movement of the people 100%, which clogged the economy globally, you can still provide some movement of the people. Indonesia has achieved, G20 country has agreed to have this digital certificate using WHO standard, and we will submit into the next World Health Assembly in Geneva as the revision to international health regulation. So hopefully for the next pandemic, we can still see some movement of the people, some movement of the goods, and movement of the economy. If you have been vaccinated or tested properly, then you can move around.
Well, and see, that's where it's headed, Salakia. So that was the Indonesia minister, all right, at the B20 in Indonesia, all right. And basically that was posted a year ago, but it was taking place. It took place in the year 2022. And you heard what he said, because ultimately what they're doing is gradually they're setting the stage to implement everybody onto this digital ID, which in the long term is going to transfer over, all right, into that surveillance under the skin. All right. But as you can see here, they're gradually just trying to implement it to try to get people used to it. And then once they get people used to it, then they can bring in and say, well, you know what, we're going to take it up a notch. All right. But we're going to place this, this implementation of a CHIP under you to where you're not going to need your car keys. You're not going to need your, information like passport, key card, banking details, all of that. All of that is going to be on that barcode system that's going to be implemented under your skin. OK, and we told you, beginning with the beloved apostles and elders of Great Millstone mainly, all right, that this was coming. So let's get some precepts. All right. First precept is this is 1 Timothy 6:20, which says, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called. OK, so we were warned about, all right, not delving into what we call today pseudoscience. OK, pseudo meaning false. OK, because Esau on the left hand side, yes, he's been given a technology, all right, to implement what he's about to implement. But mainly it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua that set him up to do that. OK, and you still have Jake that, doesn't believe that this is it. All right. Like I just got done watching a video about a beloved Elder Yashawamba going into the title of his lesson, Let Their Table Be Made a Snare, where you have a Jake on a comment board saying that the MOTB is spiritual and not carnal. OK, so we're in a time where, all right, the warnings have been going out, and, pertaining to biblical prophecy, it's not going to be any excuse for you Jakes, man. It's not going to be any excuse, man. OK. All right. Salakia, give me a second. So going on from there. All right. This is Job chapter 13 and verse 4, which says, but ye are forgers of lies Ye are all physicians of no value. And this is speaking of Esau, Edom. Okay, that's what they are, man. Okay, as the scripture says in Psalms 58 chapter that, all right, the wicked are born estranged from the womb. As soon as they be born, they go speaking lies, setting Jacob for the okie doke. All right. And that's what they're doing. And you saw how, serious and important that minister from Indonesia was saying, like, once everybody can get, this going and they can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they have been V'd. OK, then they can freely move around. See, it was Yuval Harari, which is Klaus Schwab's little dominion, that stated that, hey, never let a good crisis go to waste. So what happened in the year 2020 that affected the whole entire planet Earth, okay, is basically setting the stage for what they are able to accomplish now, because they know the way that the whole entire world reacted to the first pandemic. And so now when they bring in the next one, which Bill Gates even said it himself with his ex-wife, okay, in an interview, that you haven't seen nothing yet. Wait till the next pandemic. If the first one didn't get your attention, this one damn sure will get your attention. Okay. And with everything that's spiraling out of control with these race riots now, pushback on the government, immigrant crisis, World War III inevitable. All right. The prophecies are now jumping off the pages, man. So time is running short. Okay. Let's get this here. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1, because see, what they're doing is they're setting the stage by implementing these executive orders. All right. And putting on these pilots, testing them so that they can go ahead and pass such legislation to be able to implement them. This is Isaiah 10 and 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Because see, Esau already knew back then. You have something that's called the Rockefeller Foundation report going back as far as 2010, which states on that report that in the near future, from 2015 onwards, that they would have the technology to be able to implement these things. OK, and that's what you're seeing. So woe unto them, which woe means destruction, that decree unrighteous decrees, because that is an unrighteous decree. OK, as the scripture says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, all right, they heap it to themselves all people. This is what they're trying to do to establish their one world order. OK, so let's go from there to this is Isaiah 30 and 1, because see, Jake, all right, when shit hits the fan and they create the order out of chaos, problem, reaction, solution. This is what's going to happen. A lot of you Jakes, you're going to be looking to Esau for help. And like the beloved elder apostles of Great Millstone always says, you're going to take the CHIP when it's all said and done. Isaiah 30 and 1, woe to the rebellious children. Speaking of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that the Bible speaks of, you are the true biblical Israelites. It says, saith the Lord Yahweh, that taketh counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So here it is. The counsel of the Lord is going out, beginning with the true men of the Lord, the prophets, with the apostles, bishops, and elders on down, mainly from Great Millstone. All right. But you're not taking heed to that counsel. All right. But you're taking counsel to what these devils put out in front of you for you to trust on them and not to trust on your power. Verse 2, it says that walk to go down into Egypt, all right, which America is spiritual Egypt, pertaining to Revelation, the 11th chapter, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. OK, and you're seeing that happening right now, because when society fully collapses and the economy collapse, Jake is going to be at the forefront going to his, his enemy being the Edomites with their hand held out, telling Esau, what do we got to do? What do we got to do to eat? What do we got to do to survive? And see, even you Israelites that know that you're Israelites, you really don't have faith. So just like 2/3 of our people, you too going to collapse and you're going to take the CHIP. All right. Because the scriptures tells us this in the Apocrypha, Sirach chapter 12 and verse 10, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And like we read in the article, okay, the whole ideal is for them to overrule the constitutional rights. But here it is, okay, you niggas is the same ones that's going over there, and majority of you want to vote in the enemy. A lot of you are on the side of wanting Donald Trump to come back in, which he's an Edomite. You trust in your enemy. You trust in oppression so much, right? This is Psalms 55 and 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, and his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Because you have something that's called, Project 2025. Go and read about what Project 2025 is if Donald Trump actually gets into office. But here it is. He's speaking smooth things, pumping up Jake, making Jake think that, yeah, everything's going to go back to what it is. There's, he's going to put up the border, the fence down south and everything else like that. He's going to help us. No, man, you're forgetting that from all the way from Genesis all the way up until Revelation, including the Apocrypha. OK, remember, Genesis 3 and 15 said, I will put enmity, meaning hatred, between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman, which is being played out here today, started with Jacob and Esau, man. Esau has had a perpetual hatred for you Jakes, and you still don't fucking get it. Wisdom of Solomon 2:11, it says, let our strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Right. Because, see, this is how these devils get away with what we call murder, man. They strengthen themselves by passing certain legislation, OK, executive orders. And you see that happening on a grander scale now. For instance, the UK government just declared that they are now going to arrest American citizens, all right, that play a part in taking whether they are reposting the riots and stuff, everything that's going on over there in the UK. So if you're found to have anything to do with reposting this, that, and the third with the situation that's going on over there in the UK, you potentially could be arrested. Every day there are new laws and legislation that is coming into power right up under your noses, man. You see, but Jake just don't fucking get it, man. All right. So we're going to close out here. Micah 2 and 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. Because why? It is in the power of their hand. And why is it in the power of their hand? Job 9:24. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. See, you Jakes are about to find out that this devil is truly the devil that the Bible speaks of. Esau ain't showed his horns yet, but we are coming into the time where this devil is truly going to show his horns. And what are you going to do in the day of your visitation when Yahweh Bashim Yahushai comes down with the great wrath using the Edomites? What are you going to do, Jake? So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying, and it's on to the next, Lord's will. Shalom.